Allow me to stand on the protocol that has already been established and just say good morning, bonjour, bon dia, and molweni. Honorable members, colleagues, and distinguished participants, it is with overwhelming pleasure that I appear before you to deliver these partners' remarks in my capacity as the SADC Parliamentary Forum Secretary General. As you may be aware, the SADC Parliamentary Forum is the main interparliamentary organization in Southern Africa, which regroups 15 sovereign parliaments and which cover a base of over 3,500 democratically elected representatives. The SADC Parliamentary Forum is an organization which promotes human rights and democratization, and in this respect, it advocates for non-discrimination and equality of treatment, including with respect to sexual orientation. Honorable members, the protection of key populations, including the LGBTI, with respect to access to different health services, is a cardinal engagement of the SADC Parliamentary Forum Standing Committees. The SADC Parliamentary Forum accordingly congratulates the Global Equality Caucus for this end-of-year convening, which crystallizes its objectives with regards to LGBTI inclusion in Southern Africa. At this juncture, it is apposite to highlight that LGBTI inclusion remains a deep concern in Southern Africa. Whereas data on LGBTI is largely unavailable, laws which are repressive to the LGBTI community are still common. Around the world, there are about 75 countries which criminalize same-sex relations. Yet almost half of these countries are in Africa. Although some might say that these laws date from the colonial rule, these repressive laws have still comfortably remained on the statute book decades after independence. Honorable members, despite some progress registered through law reform in Angola, Namibia, or landmark judgments in the Court of Appeal of Botswana, and more recently in the Supreme Court of Mauritius, to ease some of the criminal restrictions on same-sex relations, much progress remains to be made in the SADC region to recognize the rights of LGBTI communities. As we gather here today, it is thus imperative for a focus to be placed on the empowerment of parliamentarians to deal with LGBTI inclusion through laws, oversight, but also through leadership, awareness, and by demystifying taboos which appear entrenched in the social fabric of our communities. Since parliaments are involved with lawmaking, it is essential to remember that discrimination is first and foremost a human rights issue. The famous Human Rights Committee case of Tunen versus Australia dates as far back as 1992, whereas the committee stated that non-discrimination on the grounds of sex would include sexual orientation, yet more than 30 years after, we are still struggling to have countries recognize sexual orientation as a human right. Honorable members, there's thus consistent advocacy which needs to be conducted for a change of mindset of citizens of the global community to be, to change. The global equality, members of parliament, as well as other stakeholders, such as the media, will need to take a lead against gender rights and anti-gender rights movements. In addition, there's a need to eliminate LGBTI stereotyping, which is an avenue for discrimination and hate crimes to permeate. For its part, the SADC Parliamentary Forum has been consistent in approaching sexual orientation and gender equality from a human rights perspective. I invite members present here today to take cognizance of the minimum standards for key populations in the context of HIV, which have been adopted by the Plenary Assembly of the SADC Parliamentary Forum in Maputo, Mozambique in 2018. These minimum standards focus on the need for key populations to access different services in the public sector, such as education, medical screening, ability to make complaints, among others, without discrimination and at par with other citizens. These minimum standards are grounded in a human rights approach and have been inspired from the norms stated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, as well as the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. In short, the objective of the minimum standard is to promote awareness that key populations are to enjoy all human rights, even socio-economic rights, without hindrance. The Forum is now at the stage of domesticating the minimum standards in collaboration with other parliaments, and we encourage partners to join in this initiative, which will positively impact on behaviors relating to recognition and acceptance of the LGBTI community. Honorable members, colleagues, and distinguished participants, I'm thus pleased to announce that the Forum will remain a partner to the Global Equality Caucus as it sets itself the noble objective of creating a fairer society for the LGBTI through parliamentary involvement. The Forum will be keen to be collaborating with the Global Equality Caucus, as well as its network of partners, for the capacity of parliaments to live issues that will result in concretely holding the executive accountable. I wish to end by saying that if the social fabric is divided, individuals will have little interest in other collective feelings such as patriotism, belief in citizen solidarity, or the desire to see their countries rise to high-income economies. A fractured society is indeed no society at all. As we look towards the horizon, it is clear that there will be no equitable society unless it is fully inclusive of the LGBTI communities. Let this end of year convening be the herald of concrete resolutions that we might implement to make a breakthrough in inclusivity once and for all. With these words, I thank you for your attention and wish you a productive session. I apologize for not being present with you while I'm in Johannesburg. I double booked my calendar, but I felt this statement of solidarity may serve us in our deliberations and engaging the SADC Parliamentary Forum beyond this particular meeting. I thank you for giving us this opportunity.